Yes, and Matthew Lloyd, as we've said, did set the agenda for the entire week to date with his comments about how Essendon should have flown the flag for Dylan Shiel. So I'm going to ask you all about moments when it was or wasn't flown. And Matthew, I'll start with you. Tell me a time when Essendon flew the flag and who did they fly it for?
The early 2000s, Brisbane were brutal, and in 2002, James Hird was coming back from his facial fractures and the Scots just targeted him pre-game, during the game, and we just weren't going to tolerate. Look at them, Lepich, the Scots, they were a tough team. But look at Barnard and Rioli and all the boys, even Carousel are in there flying the flag for our captain. It was on for young and old that
nice
night.
Backhanded there, yeah. Even Carousel.
Nice to see. Gee, they would drag him along the turf. Eddie, you're going to take us back to the 1990 grand final.
Yeah, when Essendon were physical, and it was on in the quarter time, and Gavin Brown got belted by Terry Danaher, and it was on, and they went in. And it even got to the point where a guy called John Sinan was the trainer at Essendon, and he was having a blue with Eddie Hillgrave. Sheeds got in there. Gubby Allen got in there as well. It was unbelievable what was going on. I was calling this game as the first time I ever called a game on radio. You wouldn't believe it was the 1990 Premiership.
And that was Gavin Brown laying on the floor.
And that was Gavin Brown who got knocked out, came back later on.
Got about 10 weeks, didn't he?
That was when they started to crack down on grand finals, as they should. But the Pies got in there. And interesting, it was Lee Matthews at quarter time who said, be careful, the umpire's going to give free kicks, in for the ball first, don't hit anyone, let them lose their rag. And away they went, and the Pies won.
Ross, I'd love to know how you must have felt in the box when you saw what happened to Andy Brayshaw, that famous, infamous day with Andrew Gaff.
Yeah. Well, I was headless, really. It was nasty. I remember picking up the phone. Brady Gray, young, tough player. He's an Indigenous officer at Hawthorn.
What are you saying there?
And I said, go as hard as you like, do it as often as you can, but within the rules. Michael Johnson stood up. I remember Hayden Ballantyne at three-quarter times pulled me aside and said, will I knock him out? And I said, well, I wanted to say yes, but you can't do that. So, look, it was eerie, it was dangerous, but I did pick up the phone and say within the rules.
And Ed, thank you, Ross, for those insights. Yeah. And Ed, Colin Robertson is a name infamous with Essendon supporters.
Yeah, it is. Well, the 83 grand final, Colin Robertson won the Norm Smith medal. Some think that he and John Kennedy were being confused at times in that game. But he battled Tim Watson in his 83, and Tim went down, and there was a bit of retribution here, but I know that Kevin Sheedy, for the next 2 years, when they played each other, he was all over it, and back-to-back premierships coming for the Bombers in 84 and 85. And, of course, there was a bit of irony when Timmy Watson kicked the goal in the last quarter to put Essendon in front in the 84 grand final. But this one was, in grand finals, this was the bad old days, and, unbelievable.
Was that the Incredible Hulk playing for Rene King?
I don't recall Colin Robertson playing against Essendon very much after that.
No.
Another sort of occasion where the flag wasn't flown, or certainly a club was scrutinised for not flying it, was the Richmond Football Club in 2001. After this happened to Matthew Knights, the protagonist was Tony Liberatore. I remember after the game, Danny Frawley said every dog has its day. Later on in the year, Richmond came out and beat the Bulldogs anyway, at the old, what was then known as, I think, what was Docklands anyway, Etihad Stadium. And the big criticism was that no one at Richmond went into bat for Matthew Knights, their captain.
Tiger-like.